So open source software, can you tell me what that is and what it means?
Well, so I think there's a lot of levels we could talk about open source. For the general person, the way I would talk to my grandfather about it is I like to tell him, like, well, the world's changing, right? And the ability for people to both collaborate and compete at the same time is really exciting, because with open source, for example, in OpenStack, we have all of this code which everyone shares. We all write together. So it'll be different companies all coming together, and some of the biggest companies in the world will contribute to open source, but then they'll take that same code base and they'll go off and they'll sell it to customers. So I like to joke around with my grandpa and say, well, is this capitalism or is this socialism? And that always creates a debate at the table, because it is both sharing, but then it's also, taking and actually making money off of it. And in fact, you can argue with open source, it's a way of actually doing faster business by actually sharing the code and selling the code at the same time. I know that sounds weird, but that's always a good dinner table conversation, at least is what I enjoy.
Fantastic. So you have open source and you have OpenStack. What is OpenStack and is it open source?
So yes, absolutely, OpenStack is open source. So again, the way I would talk about it is in the same way that you've got, I've got a mobile phone on me and I've got a laptop. We all know that has an operating system. Well, the next level up from a mobile phone or a laptop, of course, is a big data center. So we have these big buildings with hundreds of computers in them, and you need an operating system for that as well. And that's kind of what OpenStack is. OpenStack is a way of not just controlling one computer, but actually controlling hundreds, if not thousands of computers at the same time. It's actually what all the web, when you're on the web, all the data is coming at you from, is it's coming at it from a data center. It's the data center which is feeding your mobile phone and your computer with all that information. So that whole code base is open source. Anybody around the world, whether it's Google or Microsoft or AT&T or Cisco or all the big tech companies in the world, are able to say, yeah, we'd like some of that code, so they can take that code and build their data center with it, and then they can go off and have their products and sell their products to customers. So it's both free and open, but it's also highly competitive and capitalistic.
Okay, so if I want to get involved from a developer, so I'm interested in contributing and sharing my thoughts with the world, how would I go about getting connected into this community and actually starting to get engaged into this open source transformation revolution?
So the coolest thing for me, I always tell the people, the place you want to start is actually you want to come to one of our conferences. So every 6 months, we release a new version of software. And the way we release that new software is we all get together somewhere in the world. So next in November, we'll all get together in Barcelona. All the developers from around the world will come together and they'll start working on that code base. So that's, we have about 8,000 people who come to the conference. At any given time, we have anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 developers contributing to this massive code base. So that's really what's exciting. And again, every 6 months, so we have the next conference in Boston, and then after Boston, another 6 months will go by and we'll go to Sydney. So we go all around the world. We have developers from Asia, we have developers from Europe, lots of lovely developers here from the
Czech Republic and Prague, yeah, absolutely.
Yep,
so and if I want to drill down into that a little bit more, so what exactly do you do at the OpenStack Foundation?
So the thing I care about is after you built this data center, you got all these users out in the world and they want apps. They actually want to do something with all this incredible, power, all the compute and all the data. So just as an example, and of course a lot of people know what an app is from a mobile phone perspective, but when I say what is a cloud app, people kind of get confused. So let me just give you some fun examples, right? So one of my favorite examples right now is that we have all these vacuum cleaners, right? These automatic vacuum cleaners. So there's a university right now which is actually building software which will control hundreds of vacuum cleaners all at the same time. So we're in a massive building right now which, it would take a team of people to clean. Well, what if I had a cloud which controlled all the vacuum cleaners and would know that after this big event has occurred with all these developers, they just type up on the cloud, okay, go clean the place, and it would automatically go out and have algorithms and clean the place and all the rest of it. So that's just one example. We've also got video games, VW, there's cars, future cars will be driven by it, and just simple things as well, email systems run on it, the things that you do day to day, every day. Those are the applications which are on our phone, are on our laptop, are in our cars, are in our homes. All of that is the types of applications that can be built on the cloud.
So is there any way, let's say I can't go to a summit, is there any way I can get connected locally and start writing apps and meet other people in Czech Republic and get connected into this community? Is there any
Absolutely.
events or anything else that I...
And that's the coolest thing about open source. So open source just doesn't apply to the code and being open. It applies to all the communication. It's about having communication anywhere and everywhere. So obviously here in Czech Republic, what's brilliant is there is a local meetup group. There is obviously, we're here today at the OpenStack Day, so everybody's able to come together and share. There's obviously online email communication. There's also what us geeks will call internet relay chat, IRC chat. All of those different channels. And literally the easiest way if you want to get involved is to Google OpenStack and community, and there's a big list of things that you can do to get involved with the OpenStack community.
Fantastic. Now, one last concern. Let's say I want to get connected, but I'm a little bit, English is not my first language. So, that's a little barrier to entry for me. Is there anything that you could recommend or that I could take a look at to actually help know that there are other people out here who can help me on my journey to writing or contributing or using this software?
So first and foremost, I'm really passionate about this. I live down in Australia, so while I speak the language, English, the trouble is I'm always at a time zone, right? So I never get to hear the conversation. So please, please, please come talk to me. That's the first thing. We're always trying to figure out ways to be more inclusive. But first off, start with your local community. There's lots of lovely people here who all speak the language and they can get going. The other obvious thing is we try to do everything in such a way that it's recorded. So all of our talks are often on YouTube, much like the talk you're listening to now. And that way you can push pause, you can slow it down. So at least we're giving the people the chance to be able to engage with the English as a language. Now saying that, we are looking to do more events which are language specific. So we're talking a lot about doing training for application development, like those cool vacuum cleaners I was talking about, being able to do a hackathon, which is an event for application developers, so we can build those things and most importantly train people in the native language so that you can speak it in Czech.
So, okay, you got me. Hackathon sounds interesting. What could I expect to learn if I was to come to a hackathon and get involved?
So, and this is really interesting because one of the things that the cloud has brought about is it's changing the way we did computer science. And look, I know change is painful. You and I both did, computer science degrees, and we learned how to program things in a certain way. But the trouble with the cloud is it's changed all of that.
Right.
Like if someone had graduated from university like 5 years ago and had left and gone to a desert island and come back, it would be a completely different way of building applications. So what we do in a way is we provide a university degree for you, like a mini one, where we teach you the basic concepts for building cloud applications. And I mean, to reel off some of the buzzwords, which you can Google, microservices is a big part of what we do, 12-factor applications, understanding how to do stateful data design. Again, just Google all of these things, but more importantly, come along to the training, because a hackathon for us, it's like a marathon. It's a great chance to run a race, but we got to train you for the race before you're going to run the race. So that's what a hackathon is really about for us.
Fantastic. Well, I'm really excited. I'd love to get involved, and thank you for your time.
Cool. We'll see you at the hackathon.
Thank you.
Cheers, Lucky.